The fact is, we don't know how we got here or what we're supposed to be doing here. And certainty about what life is and is not seems a little bit misguided to me. I want to read you a little excerpt from a poem by somebody called William Martin. Do not ask your children to strive for extraordinary lives. Such striving may seem admirable, but it's the way of foolishness. Show them joy instead, is basically the rest of his poem. Teach them to taste the pears and the apples. Teach them to really look at the world. Don't give them a lot of principles. That only creates fear and that certainty that they're right and others are wrong because they don't believe the same thing is the epitome of foolishness. I read a story recently about a man driving his 8-year-old girl to school, and they had to stop in traffic because somebody had had an accident. They didn't really know who or what, but it involved a big truck. And when he came and picked up his daughter in the afternoon after school, she said, it was Lisa. And he didn't really know Lisa, but Lisa was one of his daughter's classmates who was riding her bicycle to school, and the truck had a blind spot when it turned and it ran over her. Well, he didn't know Lisa, but he fell into a depression. Now, this man was a scientist. He taught at a university. He was a quantum physicist. He had won awards, and he couldn't explain his depression. And he kept thinking about this 8-year-old girl who was the same age as his daughter, but he didn't know her. He went to a psychic, and he didn't say anything about what his issue was. He just said he wanted a reading. And the woman said, you're emotionally affected by the death of an 8-year-old girl. And the reason you're so affected is because in a past life you were her father, and she was also killed young. All right, well, that changed his life trajectory. He was a scientist who taught science, period. But all of a sudden, he started investigating past lives. He started investigating, as a quantum physicist, he said he obviously has a different take on this than a layman or a layperson. And he said, I have, because of my training, a contribution to make here. So he started writing books about it. The reason I bring that up is I think that we shrink life to such a small size that it excludes the mystery, it excludes the beauty, it excludes the meaning. We need those things. And yes, we can get well trained and have some kind of work we can do and be well paid, and we can survive well and have a nice house and a family and a regular life. And yet there are questions out there, and there are ways to experience life that we never broach. We just ignore them. And we have to have some kind of shock sometimes, some kind of experience that moves us away from our certainty, from our secure attitude that we know. The fact is, we don't know much. We actually know very little. And if Socrates' life is any illustration, questions are not always welcome. People want to feel like what they believe is the absolute rock solid truth. And somebody comes along and starts asking a lot of questions. That is pretty irritating. It's a big bother. We don't want questions. We want black and white answers. And there are people willing to give us that in every métier, every kind of work, in school, in church, in business. People want answers. They don't want to ask any questions. Those inconvenient questions, we want to shut them down, and we want people who ask them to stop it. So that's kind of the thing I'm thinking about tonight is, how are we going to get to the beauty and meaning of our own lives if we know everything, if we don't have any questions, if we don't wonder, if we don't taste the apple and the pear, and we don't look at the sunset and the sunrise, and we don't hear the birds sing, and we don't notice that people are suffering and sleeping on the street, but we're just got our head down and we're gonna be successful. That is a lost life, in my opinion. I hate to say it. I realize people don't want to hear this, but that is the truth. That we are lost and wandering. And it's not hard to see. All you have to do is read a snippet of news and realize the world has gone around the bend. That's what we have in the United States right now. The insane people have taken over the asylum, and we're all wondering, how did this happen? They've always been there, and we are partly off the beam ourselves. Maybe what we should do is stop and look around and start to listen and pay attention to the beauty in the world. Just that. What if we did that? What if we noticed the beauty in the people that we actually know? What if we noticed our own beauty? What if we really loved the world and wanted to do anything to help it grow and thrive and not suffer? What if we just could appreciate where we are? That would entail letting go of a lot of things we think are true. I bet that's right. Anyway, I've raised some questions tonight, and I think it would benefit us to just kind of stop and look around and ask a few questions ourselves. What's going on here anyway? Good night.